Hey, it's Robert here from robertcbrown.online. I hope you're having a spectacular day wherever you are in the world today. Now, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to remove negative thoughts from your subconscious mind. But before we get stuck into all that good stuff, I'd like to suggest that you go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell icon so that you get notified each and every time I do one of these wonderful little videos. And with all of that great housekeeping out of the way, let's get stuck in. Okay, so I thought the best way for me to illustrate how this really works and how to get your subconscious on board and start feeding the right thinking into it would be to actually draw you a scruffy but hopefully useful little diagram. So here it comes. Okay, now I've got to show you that and try and see it well enough myself to be able to point out what's what. So let's get close. Okay, so basically what we're looking at here is, if you remember in previous videos, I've spoken about the pyramid, the iceberg that represents really your conscious mind at the top here, the 5% of who you are, the subconscious, the 95%, and below the ocean bed there is your superconscious, which is really your link to your spiritual. Now let's forget that bit for a minute because it's not relevant to what we're actually speaking about here, okay? We're really talking about how to remove negative thoughts from your subconscious mind. Now the thing is though, this is a loop. It works on a loop, okay? So here we go, and it compounds one way or the other. That's why it's so important for you to get a handle on this. So if we think about the conscious level, where you're doing your thinking right now, basically what happens is you keep thinking things all the time, you attach feelings to it, your subconscious mind then looks for evidence to support the feelings, and then the subconscious mind will create a belief, which in turn forms your identity, who you are, who you believe you are, okay, and what you're capable of. Then in turn, because of who you are on the inner level, in your subconscious, that will always correspond into how you feel about your capabilities, the world you live in. It determines the meanings and the labels you attach to the things that show up in your external world. Those feelings, similarly, will go out through the reticular activation system. You'll go out through the subconscious and look for evidence to support it. In turn, that will influence your thinking on the conscious level, and it goes round and round and round. So you can see that it's so important for you at some stage to be cognizant, aware of what you're actually thinking, what you're investing your emotion in. Because if you can start to feed more positive, empowering thinking into your subconscious, it will eventually come down here and change your identity to support that, which will in turn change how you feel about yourself and external circumstances. Your reticular activation system will now go out to find evidence to support your new feelings, which in turn will change the way you think about your world. It'll change what you think about what you're capable of coming up with in your world or achieving. And as a result, it will determine what actions you can take and the results that show up because of the new actions that you're taking. So, I know it's a scruffy little drawing, but hopefully it illustrates the point. It really is a case, like the old computer speak, of garbage in, garbage out. You need to be really aware of what you're feeding yourself all the time, because it isn't a case of just one thought creates a knock-on effect forever. It's actually the repetition of a certain thought pattern that will go into your subconscious. You attach feelings to it. That becomes, over a period of time, your new identity. And your identity will then determine how you feel about your world. It will determine the labels that you attach to things. And it will ultimately determine how you feel about yourself, what you can achieve in the world, and generally whether or not you feel the world you live in is a great place to be in, or it depresses you. And I know that sounds a bit strong, but that is literally the case. It goes round in one big cycle. Now, As I mentioned when I was showing you the diagram, there is one level below the subconscious, which is what I call superconscious, the God force, the connection to your spirit, who you were when you came into the world, who you return to, or what you return to when you leave. It's formless energy, but it's essentially your source, who you really are. Now that's for another video, not this one. But suffice to say that when you do get to that level, then you get to a place where you don't need to seek evidence, because then you're aligned with who you truly are, the God force, and you have a knowing. You just know. You don't need anybody else to tell you. You don't need any evidence to show up. You become unstoppable, unshakable, because you just know. But that's for another video. So for now, I'm just going to leave you with that, because I think there's enough for you to think about. Think about the circle, okay? Circle of doom, I call it, if you're getting it wrong. It can be the circle of happiness, though. It can be the circle of whatever you want it to be. If you're just cognizant of the initial thinking patterns that you're feeding into your subconscious. Because it is a vicious cycle. And we're creatures of habit. And the more you invest your time and your thinking and your emotion, this is the worst thing, actually attaching the emotion to the thinking and taking that into your subconscious, that then creates beliefs and ultimately identity. And that identity will ultimately determine what you can or cannot achieve in your life. It will determine your level of happiness, your success in relationships, the amount of love you feel, you name it, your health, your physical health, your mental health, you name it. That's where it's all emanating from. So if you don't like what's showing up right now in your physical reality, start with your conscious level of thinking, but be aware of where that goes from that point on. And see what you can change, and see what changes as a result of what you can change. I hope you've really enjoyed this video. I love making them for you. I will catch you soon.